There are two people today that we need to acknowledge that without we would not be here to hold this defendant accountable and bring closure to this tragedy. First was Theo Green. He brought his experience, his professionalism, and a decade of work in this case to give us the evidence we needed to proceed in this prosecution. Remember, this was a challenging and complex and important case. Homicide prosecutions are. They're packed with emotions. They're packed with expectations and interests. The state, with the focused leadership and determination of our county attorney, Jennifer Yoakum, carefully and professionally navigated these many issues and successfully prosecuted a 56-year-old homicide investigation to a resolution. The state believes that the finding of guilt in this case is in the best interest of Mary Kay, her family, and our community. Many wanted more. But with the reality of the rules of the trial, with witnesses that are gone and members fading, the finding of guilt at a trial before the defendant would escape his responsibility by his own mortality was uncertain. Finding of guilt is hoped to bring closures and accountability. The state is confident that the court understands the many contested and time-consuming legal practical issues that would have been needed to weighed and addressed to decide this case. Nevertheless, as the factual basis illustrates, the evidence points to Mr. Ambroz as a person who in whole and part is responsible for the brutal killing of Mary Kay Bessie. The failure to bring this case to closure was a continuing wound on our community. With the finding of guilt for conspiracy to commit first-degree murder, the responsible, the defendant, has been identified and brought to justice. On that crisp night, so many years ago, March 25th, 1969, an awkward, innocent 17-year-old girl, Mary Kay Bessie, was taken from her family, this community, by the brutal acts of another. All she wanted to do was to fit in. She wanted to go to high school dance. Instead, she was chased down, viciously stabbed more than a dozen times, and left to die on the side of the road. The terror she must have felt in those final minutes cannot be imagined. Mr. Ambroz has agreed now to contest the factual basis drafted by the state that included no evidence of his involvement and responsibility in his guilt of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. The factual basis was accepted by this court, and the court found him guilty beyond reasonable doubt. Mr. Ambroz deserved to be brought to justice long before, but that's something we did not have control over. It is important to note that despite the evidence and his plea, Mr. Ambroz has not taken any responsibility or demonstrated any remorse or empathy for the victims. But he could have. And he's the only one who actually could have that part of the healing begin, to tell Mary Kay's family about his involvement and the involvement of others that day. Perhaps before he leaves this earth, he will develop the courage to be able to tell the family about his involvement. Now, considering the facts and the entry of the acceptance of the guilty plea, the state requests the maximum sentence allowed by law for the conspiracy to commit first-degree murder as it existed in March of 1969.